the whole farm bill is looking as if it's something which is anti-farmer, when it is one of the most pro-farmer that I could imagine. देखिए पानी जो होता है ना, उसका एक फिलोसफी है कि रनिंग वाटर को चलना सिखाओ, चलते पानी को रुकना सिखाओ, रुके हुए पानी को अंदर जाने सिखाओ। तो हमने जो पानी दौड़ रहा था उसको सबको रोक दिया। हमने ये कहा कोई भी गांव से पानी का एक ड्रॉप भी बाहर नहीं जाएगा। तो हमने 62 डैम्स बनाए, ट्रेंचेस बनाए, रिवर को डीपन और वाइडन कर दिया जिससे वो परकोलेट होने लगा। और एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग एक्सपेरिमेंट किया कि नदी के पट के अंदर सेंटर में हमने शाफ्ट डाले, फिल्टर शाफ्ट, जो नदी बहते बहते सारा एक्वीफर के अंदर जाके नीचे पूरा एक्वीफर भर दिया। तो हमारे यहाँ पानी का टेबल इतना ऊपर आ गया कि मैं अभी गया था लास्ट वीक, तो 20 फुट के ऊपर पानी था, एंड वी आर इन द मिडल ऑफ फेब्रुअरी। तो इस तरह से बड़ा कॉमन सेंस तरीके से हमने पानी को काम किया, तो वी वर एबल टू चेंज द होल डायनामिक्स ऑफ वाटर। नमस्ते। कुछ साल पहले मैं एक इंटरनेशनल अर्बन प्लानर था और डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज के लोगों की लाइफ देखता था, तो मुझे लगता था कि मेरे भारतवासी की जीवन ऐसा कब होगा। एक जिद कर ली कि मैं पूरी जिंदगी इसी की कोशिश करूंगा कि ये भारत कब बदले, राष्ट्र का निर्माण कब हो। और मैंने अन्ना जी के साथ राइट टू इंफॉर्मेशन के ऊपर काम किया और कुछ कानूनों के ऊपर काम किया। और 2011 में अन्ना जी और अरविंद केजरीवाल के साथ मिलके इंडिया अगेंस्ट करप्शन मूवमेंट जो शुरू की, जो वर्ल्ड की वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट मूवमेंट थी, उसकी लीडरशिप में मैं था। फिर वो मूवमेंट जो थी वो एक पॉलिटिकल पार्टी बनी, आम आदमी पार्टी, जिसका मैं नेशनल एग्जीक्यूटिव मेंबर था। लेकिन जैसे मैं पॉलिटिक्स में घुसा और मैंने जो जो देखा, मुझे ये लगने लगा मेरे से राजकारण नहीं हो पाएगा। और मैंने 2015 में पॉलिटिक्स कंप्लीटली छोड़ दिया। लेकिन वो कीड़ा तो था कि मैं कैसे इस देश को बदलूं। गांधी जी कहते थे इंडिया सोल लिव्स इन इट्स विलेजेस। अगर इंडिया को बदलना है तो गांव को बदलना पड़ेगा, और अगर मॉडल बनाना है देश को बदलने का, ऐसी जगह सिलेक्ट करें जहां सबसे ज्यादा तकलीफ हो। मराठवाड़ा में हाईएस्ट सुसाइड्स होते थे, और 2016 के अंदर तो कुछ ऐसे गांव थे जहां पे लोग पानी के लिए तरसते थे, सुसाइड्स हो रही थी, डिप्रेशन के अंदर लोग थे। 3,500 रुपया इनकम फैमिली की थी, और इसलिए जीते थे क्योंकि मरे नहीं थे।
Hello, welcome to Pali. Pali is a pilgrimage for us. It is where Mayank landed up and found people walking around with dead men's eyes. They had no water to drink and no one to care for them. But Mayank cared.
परली के अंदर मैंने पानी देना शुरू किया टैंकर। 56 गांव के अंदर 60,000 लोगों को 1.5 करोड़ लीटर हमने पानी दिया। मैंने इसके पहले लगान पिक्चर छोड़ के कोई गांव नहीं देखा था, मुझे मराठी नहीं आती थी, और मैं गांव में घूमने लगा और वहां के लोगों की हालत देख के बहुत दुख होता था। क्या कर सकता हूं मैं, कैसे इस एरिया को बदल सकता हूं और ये मॉडल को लेके देश बदल सकता हूं, इसके ऊपर विचार करने लगा। और मैंने डिसीजन ले लिया। मैंने सोचा पूरा जीवन सेवा में ही गुजारूंगा, और मैंने जहां नौकरी थी वो छोड़ दी, और मेरे पास एक फ्लैट मैंने बुक किया था वो बेच दिया, और गांव में मैंने काम करना शुरू कर दिया। लेकिन एक चीज मैंने तुरंत मुझे समझ में आ गई कि जो गांव है ये एक मल्टीपल ऑर्गन फेलियर जैसा है। हार्ट के ऊपर आप काम करोगे लीवर खींच लेगा, लीवर पे काम करोगे लंग खींच लेगा। तो अगर आपको गांव बदलना है तो आपको 360 डिग्री हर एक एस्पेक्ट पे काम करना पड़ेगा। हमने पानी के ऊपर काम किया, हमने इनकम जनरेशन के ऊपर काम किया, एजुकेशन के ऊपर खूब काम किया, स्वास्थ्य के ऊपर, हेल्थ केयर के ऊपर काम किया, फिर स्किल डेवलपमेंट के ऊपर किया, कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग के ऊपर किया, गांव वालों को तैयार करने के लिए जो डिप्रेशन में था, जिसकी आंख के अंदर अग्नि नहीं थी, सोललेस आइज बोलते थे, जिसके युवाओं ने कभी दूध नहीं चखा था, उन सब के लड़ने को तैयार कर दिया, एक आर्मी जैसा बना दिया।
The biggest thing was that a social transformation took place, and small villages can be incredibly competitive. If you have one political party, there are probably 3 factions of that party in that village. He said that, look, if you talk about politics in this village, I'm not going to enter the village. So he was very, very intelligent. He completely stayed away from politics. He speaks nothing but development, development and development.
वहां पे दारू का बहुत ज्यादा चलन है, और रेवली गांव करके था, उसके अंदर 7 युवा सिरोसिस ऑफ लीवर से मर गए थे। रात को रोड के ऊपर सब दारू पी के सोते थे, लेडीज ने पीना शुरू कर दिया था, बच्चों ने पीना शुरू कर दिया था। और फिर हमने तय किया कि एक आंदोलन करते हैं, और वहां की लेडीज, बच्चे, युवा सब आगे रात को मशाल लेके घूमने लगे, दारू बंदी झालीच पाइजे, और दारू की दुकान पे रेड मारने लगे। और इस तरह हमने 15 गांव में दारू कंप्लीटली बंद कर दिया।
खुशी हो या गम हो, मुझे खाली शराब ही दिखती थी, शराब के अलावा मुझे दिखता ही नहीं। मगर जब से मयंक गांधी हमारे गांव में आया और उन्होंने शराब बंद की, और मुझे एक खाली मूल मंत्र दिया, बोतल पे बोतल पिए जाओ, आधी रात उतरती है, मगर एक बार खाली समाज सेवा का प्याला पियो, जिंदगी भर चढ़ती है। और खाली यही मूल मंत्र ने मेरी जिंदगी बदली।
मूवमेंट शुरू हो गया और लोग जुड़ने लगे। तो 2017 में ये सोचा कि अगर मैं अपनी जीवन में इस तरह काम करूंगा गांव बदलने का, तो 25, 50, 100, 200 गांव बदल पाऊंगा। और भारत में 6.5 लाख गांव है। तो फोकस करके हमने ये सोचा कि अभी पानी के ऊपर काम करते हैं। जैसे शरीर के अंदर 70% मात्रा पानी की रहती है, वहां के प्रॉब्लम भी 70% पानी से जुड़े हुए थे। और लोगों को इकट्ठा किया। मुझे याद है 45 डिग्री की धूप 2018 में, और सारे गांव वाले साथ में मिलके काम करते थे। ऐसे करते करते हमने 222 करोड़ लीटर पानी इकट्ठा किया, 70 किलोमीटर नदी बनाई, 162 तालाब बनाए, 62 डैम्स बनाए, और पूरा गांव का गांव उमट पड़ता था श्रमदान करने के लिए।
गांव में पहले झगड़े वगैरह बहुत होते थे। जैसे ग्लोबल पर्ली के साथ हमारे गांव के युवक जुड़े, अभी गांव में विकास कार्य बहुत प्रगति पे है, और साथ में हम लोगों की जो एकता है उसे भी अभी कोई तोड़ नहीं सकता।
श्रमदान नहीं करते थे, गांव वाले ने 13,55,000 रुपया भी इकट्ठा किया। तो इस तरह से पानी के ऊपर खूब काम किया, और पानी आ गया तो पूरा गांव, पूरा एरिया नव चेतना आ गई। इतना सुंदर पूरा एरिया होने लगा।
हमारे गांव में जो ग्लोबल वर्ली की टीम ने जो वाटरशेड डेवलपमेंट का काम किया है, उसकी बदौलत हमारे गांव में अब बहुत पानी है। पहले हमारे गांव का जो पानी था वो 400 से 500 फीट तक था। अभी वो काम होने के बाद हमारे गांव का पानी का लेवल 50 से 70 फीट तक आ गया है। उसकी बदौलत हम लोग अब अच्छी फसल उगा सकते हैं।
और लोगों के अंदर नई चेतना आई, उनको लगा कि हम भी जीवन में कुछ कर सकते हैं। क्या उस समय की जीत थी हमारी, कि सिर्फ जमीन के ऊपर बदलाव नहीं लाए, हम मानसिक तरीके से इनको हमने जिंदा कर दिया। और जो युवा जो किसानी छोड़ के शहर में जाते थे, वो शहर में जाना उनका बंद हो गया। तो ये बहुत बड़ा बदलाव हो गया। ये वाटर मैनेजमेंट करने के बाद इनकम कैसे बढ़ानी है, ये नेक्स्ट चैलेंज था हमारे लिए। और हमने ये प्लान किया कि जो किसान कॉटन और सोया लगाता है, जहां पे उसको 10 से 20 हजार रुपया पर एकड़ की सालाना इनकम होती है, अगर उसका क्रॉपिंग पैटर्न चेंज करते हैं, अगर हम फल के पेड़ लगवाते हैं, तो उनकी इनकम बहुत ज्यादा हो सकती है।
A lot of work, and it was something it needs to be done in every part of India, because एक तो ऐसे ट्रीज लगाने से जो एक सबसे भयंकर जो डर है, which is looming on our heads about environment, about global warming. So मयंक गांधी जी का एक सीधा साधा फंडा है कि भैया झाड़ लगाओ, that is the only solution.
और फिर किसान को हमने बहुत अच्छे पौधे दिए और जबरदस्त ट्रेनिंग दिया, रेगुलर ट्रेनिंग एवरी 15 डेज हम लोग देते थे। कुछ तो ऐसे पेड़ हैं जो 2-2.5 साल के बाद फल देंगे, लेकिन पपाया और ड्रमस्टिक ऐसा था कि जिसने 8 महीना 7 महीने के अंदर प्रोडक्शन दे दिया और मार्केट वहां पे आ गया, क्योंकि क्लस्टर के अंदर बहुत बड़ी क्वांटिटी में बनता था। अब जो 10 से 20 हजार कमाते थे वो 3 लाख के ऊपर कमाने लगे।
यहाँ हमारा जो दुष्काल परिस्थिति में हमारा एरिया पहचाना जाता है और यहाँ बारिश भी कम होता है और इधर पूरा कर्ज बाजारी खेती पूरा चलता था और मैं वो सोयाबीन, कपास, बाजरी, हाइब्रिड ऐसा पीक लेने वाला किसान था। उसके बाद इसका सेवगे का जो उत्पन्न चालू हो गया तो ऐसा हम सपने में भी नहीं सोचते कि खेती में इतना पैसा निकलता है करके। पहले हम तो वो पैसा देख के हमारा विश्वास भी नहीं होता था कि 1 एकड़ में इतना पैसा खेती किसान को मिलता है। बाद में जब चालू हो गया तो एक झाड़ को 10-15 किलो माल निकलने लगा, अच्छा से पैसा मिल गया। अपना वो कपास निकाल के फेंक देना पड़ता है, वैसा ये सेवगा का नहीं, 7-8 साल चलता है वो, अच्छा संभालेगा तो। फिर आप पहला क्या पतरे का घर, अभी घर भी बनाऊंगा वही पैसे से, अच्छा से गाड़ी बीड़ी लेगा बैठने को।
एक पपीता का पेड़ कम से कम 50 से ज्यादा 80 किलो तक ये माल देता है और 1 एकड़ में ये अपन 900 पेड़ लगा सकते हैं। 900 पेड़ यानी कि लगभग 40 से 50 टन। पहले सोया की खेती करते थे तो 20 या 25 हजार आते थे। ये पपई की खेती करने लगे तो हमारे हाथ में 10 या 15 गुना ज्यादा 3 से 4 लाख रुपए प्रति एकड़ खर्च जाते हुए हमारे हाथ में रह गए। इधर जो मल्चिंग दिख रही है इसमें हमने वाटरमेलन का लिया था। वाटरमेलन का एक एकड़ में खर्चा जाते हुए हमको कम से कम 1.25 लाख रुपए रह गए।
मैं एक गरीब किसान था और आत्महत्या करने को निकला था और ग्लोबल परली आई। ग्लोबल परली ने सीताफल लगाने का मार्गदर्शन किया और उन्होंने अच्छे पेड़ लाके मुझे दिए सीताफल के। और मार्केट में जो सीताफल 20 रुपए 30 रुपए किलो जाता था वो सीताफल आज 120-130 रुपए से जा रहा है। मैं 1 एकड़ में 3 से 5 लाख रुपए कमा सकता हूँ, ऐसी मेरी आशा है और मैं खुश हूँ।
तो खूब इनकम मल्टीप्लाई हो गई। ये रिजल्ट देख के आजू बाजू के एरियाज के किसान हमारे पास आए कि हम भी लगाना चाहते हैं। तो इस साल 2020 में कोरोना का चैलेंज होने के बावजूद हम लोग ने 20 लाख से ज्यादा फल के पेड़ लगाए। So once we had a success in the proof of concept that we are attempting in the worst area of the country, so the next step was to replicate and to scale it up, because remember, we were trying to change India and not just the lives of the people of Parli or of Marathwada. And which is why we started scaling up, replicating, because new models would then be made. Different areas would have different necessities, different needs based on the soil and weather and water. So we started working in Madhya Pradesh. This year we intend to work in Gujarat and in Palghar, which is near Mumbai. We also are intending to work with local leadership in different parts of the country who want to come and do similar things. So we'll give them a standard operating procedure, we will guide them, we will mentor them. But that's not the most important thing. The most important thing is how do we institutionalize the whole model? If we were to institutionalize, if the government takes ownership of this model, then this country can change. So I've been speaking at various levels of government, central, state, local, and I think there seems to be an interest in the whole thing. Let me give you some figures. Today, India's fruit plantation is in 4.21% of India's arable land. China has 13.95% of its land under fruit plantation. Now suppose we were able to increase, due to support of government and individuals and public-private partnership, to 11%. It would actually mean that 3.23 lakh crore rupees revenue will increase for the farmer, which essentially means 13.92% of the agri GDP. This is massive. So what we are attempting in a proof of concept goes into replication and then goes into the government policy and able to change the rural landscape of this country.
This can lead to the complete transformation of the Indian economy and also set an example for taking it global to the rest of the developing world.
This country, this democracy of India has seen many transformations, many changes, but most of them have been due to movements, whether it's the Gandhi movement for before independence, or it's the movement against the emergency, the Mandir, the Mandal, or the latest Anna movement. Movements have succeeded. They have been able to change the hegemony. The people who have been controlling have been changed. These are movements which know how to break the building but do not know how to construct a new one. I believe that if we want to change this country, we also need to have a movement, but not a confrontational, not a destructive movement, but a constructive, positive, pro-development movement, which is what we have begun in Parli and Marathwada. And I think this movement, if all of us come together, various groups come together from this country, this nation can change. Remember, at one time, a few hundred years back, India's economy was 33% of the world economy. Its trade was 30% of the world's trade. Today, our economy is 2.6% and 0.8% of the trade. This country is destined for greatness. Let's work together. Jai Hind. There was this desire, एक पागल आदमी का सोच होता है कि देश को बदलना है without any organization. So I believe that India के अंदर 10 से 40 हजार रुपया पर एकड़ की इनकम है फार्मर्स की, and if we are able to bring it to 1 lakh rupee an acre, which is the minimum, and we have done that for over 4,000 farmers in the worst area of the country. If we can do that, I think we can replicate this across the country and India can transform. 5 to 10 times minimum increase in income. The Prime Minister talks about doubling income. I have shown them a proof of concept where we have increased the income to over 10 times. So if we can take this model and do it across the country, and it's an easily replicable model which we are now doing in Madhya Pradesh and other parts of the country, I think this nation can change. But having said that, I'm very disturbed by the fact that a very beautifully drafted and a very reformist farm bill that have been drafted are being opposed in this manner. So let me give you the genesis of where this comes from. There are some surplus crops like wheat, rice, etc., which are grown in Punjab, Haryana, and some part of Western UP. So typically what happens is the Punjabi farmer has a large land. He will get a Bihar, laborers from Bihar to get production of wheat or rice. And then it is sold in the mandis, MSP, so that there is really very little that he has to do as an effort to sell it, to get money out of it, because ready-made, there is a market to sell it. So earlier when we were a deficit country, that made a sense because then government had a kind of a buffer to take care of droughts or shortages. But today there is a huge surplus of wheat and rice, and we are spending crores and crores. I think 2 lakh crore rupees we are spending every year in storage. Now, I was just with a collector of Raisen in Madhya Pradesh, and he's saying we had to close down a school because there was no place to keep this wheat, extra storage. And after 3 years, you know, the wheat is going to be eaten by rats or the rice is going to be spoiled. And this country is going into a huge loss. I think one of the factors for bringing the reforms for the farm bills was to get the farmers to change, sell to the mandis, get outside and be able to face the market. But the farmers in these states, I do not think would like to do that, because here is a very comfortable source of income, which they do not want to let go. So 90% of the farmers of this country would like the farm bills to be passed or to be accepted, but a few percentage of the farmers have gone and created this kind of a narrative saying that the government is against the farmer and this farm bill will be very dangerous to the country. And sitting in Maharashtra and working with the farmers, I know, working with the farmers of Gujarat, of Madhya Pradesh, I know for a fact that their ability to sell outside mandis, their ability to sell to different states has increased their price of the products. So I was just talking to one farmer today in the afternoon, and he said he used to grow turmeric and he had to compulsorily sell it in Maharashtra mandis. Now he is able to sell it across many states and he has increased his selling price by 4 times. Now I used to sell papayas at 2 and 3 rupees a kg. Now I have farmers coming from Delhi, from Gurgaon, from Noida, from Calcutta, from Mysore and from Madhya Pradesh, and our farmers are getting 12 to 13 rupees, 6 times more money. I mean, I cannot understand, unless you had some personal selfish agenda where you wanted to hold on to what you are doing, why should one mind if the country is going to give more options to a farmer? So he can sell it to a mandi, he can sell it to APMC, but he can also sell outside. It's like you have a bike and you have 2-3 buyers. So what's the harm in that? Except that you wanted that mandi, and then of course there are middlemen. I think there have been 22 rounds of talk with the government, with the farmer agitating leaders, and they are bending backwards to make whatever necessary. I can understand that there are some aspects in that bill which may be needed to change, and I agree, and it should be changed. But there have been discussions going on. But this kind of an arrogance to say it is either my way or the highway. You take back the whole bill or we'll continue to agitate, to close down the roads, to do all kind of violence. I think some firm steps need to be taken by the government, because this is in favor of 90% of the farmers. And I've been working with farmers for many years, and I see that this is like, if I may give an example, when the 1991 liberalization took place, people started saying, my God, everyone will come and take over this country, and this country will... There were 7 Bharat Bandhs at that time, and they had closed down the country for many days. But today, in hindsight, we understand that this liberalization has been very helpful to this country. I think this is the liberalization and the opening up of the economy for the agri sector, and it's very good for this country. We must look into the real issues of the farmer, not succumb to the kind of blackmail that is happening by the farmer groups. This farm bill, this reform needs to come in the agri sector. The agri sector desperately needs to open up the economy so that they can sell, they can go and sell to mandis, to outside mandis. So market has to become the driving force of anything. I mean, I cannot sell a mouse, let's say a mouse of a computer, and keep on selling and saying government has to keep on buying from me. I can make as many pieces as I want. That's not done. Imagine today 2 lakh crore we are losing for storage. Every year wheat production is growing by 9%. What is going to happen to this country after 20 years? Where will we get the funds? Will we stop all benefits to the poor so that we can feed the few farmers of Punjab and Haryana? And I have nothing against them. I just think it's very short-sighted, and the way it is being led, all the anti-government forces are coming together and creating this hulla-bulla. In a way, it is the fault of the government that it is not able to bring together the 90% farmers who favor these bills. So there is a counter narrative, but it is not coming out in the public domain, which needs to come. Having worked with farmers, I know how beneficial this is. And I hope that good sense prevails and the government stands firm and do not repeal these laws which have been passed in Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, and they are gone to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court has put... In a democracy, you have access to various ways you can complain. You have done that. And the Supreme Court has set a committee to listen to that. You may argue, you may say the committee is like this, you may argue saying it has happened in the Rajya Sabha like this. But that's how democracy works. So I think somewhere the farm bill, the government needs to put its foot down firmly and bring in the 90% of the farmer who support this bill to come out and create a counter narrative. That's what democracy is all about. Both sides of narrative need to come out in the public domain. So if there are any questions, I will be happy to answer them.
From a very long time, we have seen that that you can say farmers is a loss of income. People are shifting from this business. So what we should do to make this business profitable? Because if you can see many ways we are seeing that the farmers are not getting benefit, and this issue is raised by our the so-called Punjab and Haryana farmers. So what is your view on it?
So
How to
listen,
raise income?
when I went to the village and I started working, I realized that the younger generation do not want to be in farming. And the only reason, of course, there are multiple reasons. One of them is our education system is such that once you have studied a bit, you would hate to put your hands in the soil. But leaving that aside, one of the reasons the farmer, after having studied, after being educated to some extent, do not want to go in farming is because it's not viable. If you earn 10 and 20,000 rupees an acre, who would want to go there? Not me, not you, nobody would. So the idea is, how do you make farming viable? And once we started making farming viable and started the income of farmers from 2 to 3 lakh rupees an acre, suddenly all the youngsters started coming into farming. The migration that took place during the lockdown, the reverse migration, our farmers now refuse to go back to the cities. Now they want to work in the fields, they want to work in the rural areas. Which person in his right mind would leave the wonderful atmosphere, environment of the village and go and live in the slums of the city? So the idea is, how do you make it viable so that they would stay there? So increasing income is the main thing, and we, instead of just talking about it, we created a large 106 village proof of concept in which increase of income took place. So I believe that this is what we need to do. We need to increase the income of farmers. That's the only way that farmers will stay back in their village and work.
I have one question regarding the new bill. So, like, if farmers are going to have without mandi, so there are lots of digital things will come into the picture. Like if they are using eNAM app. So, do you think that the villagers who are they have very easy to go in mandis and sell the things? So, how they will use the online platforms? Because
I think,
yeah.
Alok, first thing is, nowhere are they saying that they will close the mandis. They are giving an option to mandis. So mandis will continue to stay. The other thing is that when we've been working with the farmers and doing training, because of Corona, we could not reach the farmers. So we started doing a Zoom training sessions. And trust me, ladies with hookahs sitting under trees were all on their smartphone and listening to us. I think digital, we sometimes overestimate that we only understand digital, but the farmers are one of the, I was an urban planner, I was a management person, and every management consultant thinks that he knows everything. So when I went to the village, I felt I will go and make some changes and the village life will change. But as soon as I went there, I realized that I know nothing. These farmers know much more. So first I had to get my cup and throw away the tea before I can fill it again. So a lot of unlearning took place. So sometimes we underestimate the knowledge and the ability of farmers to change themselves, to get into new. Our farmers work with technology big time. They have all the farming apps. They work big time, and I think that's true of the entire country. So some kind of a maybe training may be necessary, but to think that the farmers will not be able to digitally connect with the rest of the country is a little not right.
So one question I want to ask first regarding farm laws. So I am staying in Jhansi right now in UP, and my landlord has used to sell his products, his crops in the mandis earlier. So this time what happened, when he went to the market, when he went to sell his paddy, so he got price lesser than MSP. So actually, I used to be a good supporter of these farm laws. When I went to the farm laws, I understood that. Then, but when I see this situation that when he went to the to sell his paddy, but he could not sell it in the mandi because mandi there was a, if you have a good link of with netas and local influencer, then only you can sell your product in mandi. Otherwise, you have to go to private players. And he sold his paddy to private player, and he sold it in 1600 per quintal, but MSP is 1860, right? So my question is, though we are saying that it is the middleman is not coming in play in this new law, but on the ground, if we see the situation with the farmers, we are seeing it reverse. So what is the real reason for this? So I saw this situation with one with my landlord and another with one of my friends. He is in Gonda. So he also faced the same situation. So can you explain why this thing?
See, the mandis had, I used to sell in mandis, and I know the kind of blackmail that the farmers used to be under, had to go through. Oh, mandi mein to aaye to fir you had to sell whatever happens. And they used to loot, the middlemen used to really cheat them. So मंडीज में भी गलत प्रैक्टिसेस हो रही है और बाहर भी गलत प्रैक्टिसेस हो रही है, लेकिन अभी आपके पास दो ऑप्शन है. यू कैन चूज द बेटर आउट ऑफ देम. दिस कंट्री इज फुल ऑफ करप्शन, फुल ऑफ ऑल काइंड ऑफ प्रैक्टिसेस. तो इसको इकट्ठा होने की जरूरत है. फार्मर्स वी हैव टू कम टुगेदर. नाउ इफ you sold outside, I'm sure there was an option to sell inside. Earlier there was only option to sell inside. Now you have both options. Now I have no personal knowledge about why they sold it at a lesser price when a higher price was given in the mandis.
जब वो मंडी में बेचने गए तो सिचुएशन ये था कि मंडी में जो हायर इन्फ्लुएंस काफी लंबी लाइन लगी हुई थी. तो उसमें या तो इनका अप्रोच है यहाँ के लोकल इन्फ्लुएंसर्स के नेता से, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन से, वही के बेच पा रहे थे. तो लास्ट ईयर तक वो एमएसपी से ज्यादा प्राइस पे उन्होंने बेचा है. लास्ट ईयर बता रहे थे कि उन्होंने पेडी जो है वो 2100 में बेचा पर क्विंटल. बस इस बार उनको 1600 में बेचना पड़ा बिकॉज मंडी में इतना लंबा लाइन लगा हुआ था. उनका कोई अप्रोच नहीं था नेताओं से या एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन से, इसका मंडी में बेच नहीं पाए. और प्राइवेट प्लेयर्स आई डोंट नो वेदर इट वाज ब्लैक बिकॉज ब्लैकमेलिंग समथिंग, बाहर जाके बेचे थे तो बाहर कहते हैं हम इतना में ही लेंगे, इससे नहीं ले पाएंगे. तो अंत में चूंकि उनके पास स्टोरेज का स्पेस नहीं था, इसलिए वो बाहर में कम में बेचना पड़ा उनको.
मुझे आर्ग्यू नहीं करना है क्योंकि ये चल सकता है, लेकिन मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि पहले सारा मंडी में जाते थे, अभी आधे मंडी में और आधे बाहर जाते हैं, फिर भी लाइन होती है बड़ी. तो पहले डबल लाइन होगी ना. तो मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है कि यू आर जस्ट गिविंग देम टू ऑप्शन, यू सेल इन द मंडी और यू सेल आउटसाइड. बाकी मंडी के लिए कोई मिनिस्टर की पहचान, ये मैं पहली बार सुन रहा हूँ, लेकिन हो सकता है आपके एरिया में. लेकिन मंडी जाते हैं, वो खरीदते हैं, लाइन्स तो होती है. पहले मंडी वाले लूटते थे, बाहर वाले लूट रहे हैं, लेकिन एटलीस्ट दो जन का कंपटीशन है कि आपका कम लूटा जाएगा. ये फार्मर को लूटने का धंधा बहुत सालों से चल रहा है.
I just want to ask about when I saw your film, there were certain areas in which they said that our water table was 500 feet or more, and now it has come down to as low as 70 feet. Or so how do you do that?
देखिए, पानी जो होता है ना, उसका एक फिलोसफी है कि रनिंग वाटर को चलना सिखाओ, चलते पानी को रुकना सिखाओ, रुके हुए पानी को अंदर जाने सिखाओ. तो हमने जो पानी दौड़ रहा था उसको सबको रोक दिया. हमने ये कहा कोई भी गांव से पानी का एक ड्रॉप भी बाहर नहीं जाएगा. तो हमने 62 डैम्स बनाए, ट्रेंचेस बनाए, रिवर को डीपन और वाइडन कर दिया जिससे वो परकोलेट होने लगा. और एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग एक्सपेरिमेंट किया कि नदी के पट के अंदर सेंटर में हमने शाफ्ट डाले, फिल्टर शाफ्ट, जो नदी बहते बहते सारा एक्वीफर के अंदर जाके नीचे पूरा एक्वीफर भर दिया. तो हमारे यहाँ पानी का टेबल इतना ऊपर आ गया कि मैं अभी गया था लास्ट वीक, तो 20 फुट के ऊपर पानी था. एंड वी आर इन द मिडल ऑफ फेब्रुअरी. तो इस तरह से बड़ा कॉमन सेंस तरीके से हमने पानी को काम किया. तो वी आर एबल टू चेंज द होल डायनामिक्स ऑफ वाटर.
Sir, what will it take to replicate this model in the rest of the country?
We will need youngsters to come forward, understand this model. We are happy to teach them, to give them standard operating procedure, to do hand holding. But I think that at one stage this will become a movement and it will become an organically, जैसे हमारा अन्ना का मूवमेंट हुआ था ना, कहाँ से लोग आके सपोर्ट करने लगे, ऐसा एक मूवमेंट होने वाला है ये किसान का. अभी तक जो मूवमेंट हुआ ये डिस्ट्रक्टिव कन्फ्रंटेशनल मूवमेंट हुए, ये एक पॉजिटिव मूवमेंट होगा, डेवलपमेंट ओरिएंटेड मूवमेंट होगा, जो अपने खुद की लाइफ बेहतर करने के लिए, पहले क्या करते थे, वो बिल्डिंग गिराने का नॉलेज था, लेकिन नया बिल्डिंग बनाने का प्लान किसके पास नहीं था। हम चाह रहे हैं कि इस तरह से हम मूवमेंट करें जो पॉजिटिव हो, जो डेवलपमेंट, जो इनकम बढ़ाए लोगों की।
I just wanted to know or understand about FPO model from you, because as I see it, I really see it very a good model, a good alternative model. But as far as my research goes, I've seen that out of 6,000, there are around 5,000 FPOs in India who are not financially viable. They don't really have very good funding sources backing them. So, what are your suggestions on the same?
See, FPO as a theory is very good. कि आप एक एक इंडिविजुअल फार्मर से कैसे डीलिंग करोगे, स्पेशली आफ्टर द फार्म बिल हैज कम इन and there'll be large players coming in, large investments coming in, contract farming coming. So it will always be beneficial for for small marginal farmers to come together and create an FPO. But ये देश पूरा है ना, ये रैकेट से चलता है। वो जूता पॉलिश करने वाले से लेके प्राइम मिनिस्टर तक रैकेट ही रैकेट है। तो ये FPO भी एक रैकेट बन गया है। कोई एक बड़ा पॉलिटिशियन है, वो अपना FPO बनाता है, कोई बड़ा फार्मर होता है, अपने लोगों को घुसा के फार्म FPO बनाते हैं। तो बहुत कम अच्छे FPO है, मोस्टली ये सब रैकेट वाले FPO हो गए हैं, विच इज वेरी अनप्लेजेंट और not improper. But in every field in India, we do this jugad and this systematic cheating. So it has percolated into FPOs also. But as a concept, FPO is good. There are a few good FPOs. We intend to make one of the finest examples of FPO, which is democratic and trying to bring in all the farmers together.
The administration is not reaching to the grassroots level up, and so narrative is all about there are political parties, they are opportunists, they hijack every narrative. So it's not the counter narrative or a narrative. It's all about that administration is a failure to reach to grassroots level farmers. It's my opinion.
I agree with you, Vinay, completely. Neither the administration nor the ruling party is able to reach to the people and try to put their voice into the public domain. It is very important to do that. Otherwise, the whole farm bill is looking as if it's something which is anti-farmer, when it is one of the most pro-farmer that I could imagine.
So now the farmers you have impacted, they were able to increase their incomes by incomes by a huge extent, since they shifted to cultivation of less water intensive crops, fruit based crops, or all those things. But then the point is, you have implemented this maybe in a smaller pocket, but then how exactly will you be able to ensure that demand for these vegetables or fruits will actually be available in the market when compared to soybean or cotton? So cotton, for example, you have the industry comes into picture here, so it is a cash crop. And then in addition to that, for example, sugarcane, I think Marathwada belt where you had worked on is also, if I'm not wrong, it's sugarcane intensive belt. So you have a lot of cooperative societies operating around there. There is an industrial demand for it. So when this shift from water intensive crops to non-water intensive crop happens, how exactly can we ensure that the demand for this is also being considered when farmers are being suggested something? I mean, do you have a process worked out for this, or are these particular crops that you're referring to, are they catering for urban consumers? So if it is for urban consumers, then maybe you can accordingly plan a different variety of crops or exotic vegetables or so and so on. So what exactly is the way forward? So what you have done is for a smaller geographical location, but then when we shift en masse from water intensive to non-water intensive crops, how exactly can we balance it out so that the farmer incomes continue to remain high?
Yeah, first of all, we started with 106 villages. Now, last year we worked in 4 districts of Marathwada, which means 32,000 square kilometers, which is 1.5 times Israel and larger than 58 countries in the world. This time we have doubled it. So we are larger than I think 90 countries in the world, and 3 times Israel. So I don't think that that it's in a small area is a valid point. Two, uh, we are working very closely with various companies and with various wholesalers and retailers and malls to sell this produce. And we are putting up processing plants, we are putting up cold storages, drying plants. So the forward linkage is being worked out very closely. And really, if you look at the numbers, that the number of plants that we have done 3.2 million fruit trees. The production is less than 0.45% of India's fruit production. But what we have done is, because we have got them all in a cluster in one area, so people, wholesalers are coming here and buying in big numbers and giving a good price. So there is a strategy in place for forward linkages or for marketing. I think still many more fruit trees can be planted, maybe 10 times what we have planted till now. So I'll just give you an example. In 2019, we planted 1.46 lakh papaya trees, which is 0.8% of Maharashtra's papaya trees. But because they were in a cluster, all the wholesalers came from all parts of the country. And while the rate was 8 and 9 rupees in the rest of the country at that time, they came and paid 22 rupees to our farmers. So when you do it in a cluster, you don't have to go to the market comes to you. That was the logic by which we worked. And I think this logic will work.
Okay, so this is a slightly tangential question. I remember that you said somewhere that you had qualified in management, right? So I'm wondering, what are we doing with this so many MBA degrees? Are we actually making people unfit to manage, all kinds of commercial enterprises at across scales in India? I mean, are we damaging our youth by these MBA degrees?
There can be much said about our education system, but this may not be the forum to do that. But trust me, when the Englishmen decided that we want clerks, so they had the complete system by which clerks could be created. And while we have changed a bit of it, but much more needs to be done. But reality is very far from the education system. And especially I see in the farmers, there are a lot of educated children of farmers. But once they do some education, then they feel very lowly or very insulted to touch the ground and to do farming. They feel it is below their dignity. That white collar is giving them problems to work.
सर आपने बोला किसान के बारे में लूट चल रही है, तो मेरा मतलब 2 ऑब्जर्वेशन निकाले मैंने. तो क्या हम एमएसपी को, जैसे हमने फ्रूट प्राइसेस रखे हैं इंटरनेशनल मार्केट के हिसाब से, तो क्या हम एमएसपी को इंटरनेशनल मार्केट के हिसाब से नहीं रख सकते? और दूसरा मेरा क्वेश्चन है कि अब किसान को ऐसा लगता है कि हम लूटे जा रहे हैं, तो 1-2 महीने नहीं उगाए, फसल नहीं उगाए, तो लोगों को भी समझ आया कि हमको भी इनको देना चाहिए असल दाम. और फिर मेरे 2-3 क्वेश्चन और थे, तो मैंने बोला पहले इसके.
नहीं, ऐसा कुछ होता नहीं है कि सब नहीं उगाएंगे. सबके अपने सेल्फ इंटरेस्ट है, सब अपना करते रहेंगे. लेकिन ये इंटरनेशनल मार्केट की एक अपने, ये तो डिफरेंट एनिमल, और हमारा इंडियन मार्केट इज अ डिफरेंट एनिमल. तो इसको अगर आप मैच करने जाओगे इंटरनेशनल मार्केट से तो नहीं हो पाएगा. आपका जो व्हीट है, जो राइस है, उसको आप इंटरनेशनल मार्केट में बेच भी नहीं पाओगे बिकॉज ऑफ द प्राइस डिफरेंस. तो आप हर चीज को कितनी सब्सिडाइज कर सकते हो? एट वन स्टेज यू हैव टू वर्क विद द मार्केट ना. आप ऐसे नहीं हो सकता मैं एक खिलौना बना रहा हूँ, मैं बनाते ही जा रहा हूँ जो मेरे रेट में, और सरकार को मेरा खिलौना खरीदना पड़ेगा. मैं 10 मिलियन बनाऊं, मैं 100 मिलियन बनाऊं, ऐसे होता नहीं है. यू हैव टू गेट लिंक टू द मार्केट, एंड द मार्केट इज इट्स ओन डायनेमिक्स. यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड इन एवरी बिजनेस वन वर्क्स विद द मार्केट. व्हाई शुड दिस नॉट बी सो? And 94% of the crops work for the market, only 6% don't.
You have developed a system for water management of groundwater level, and there are many reports in the social media and all that from by 2030, 65% of our India will face groundwater level. So what do you think when this method will be applied, which you have developed and many have developed? So what do you think?
See, 2-3 things. I will be a little harsh when I speak this, but India gets 1065 millimeters of rainfall And the powerhouse of agriculture, Israel, gets 225 millimeters. So people who say that the third world war will be fought on water don't understand that we have much more than enough water. It's just that we are not able to manage it. And for 65 years, no government cared to manage water, look at water. And I wonder if Nehru in the first budget had talked about Jal Ministry and got water, today India would have been a developed country. Water is the source. First time this government has a ministry and is talking about water management. It's too late. But still, whatever has come, I think we need to work on water harvesting. There is more than enough water. We just need to manage it properly. Most of the water runs away to the rivers and to the sea. And the water that is needed for the farms, for the villages is not adequate then.
If I want to step in social entrepreneurship, how can I do it? Please suggest some steps. I am a guy working from 9 to 5 and have family responsibilities too. Kindly suggest.
So what is it that he wants to do?
He wants to step into social entrepreneurship.
So don't step, jump in. Things will happen. Once you want to work for others, things start happening. So sometimes one has to take a risk, one has to dive in. So when I was with India Against Corruption, I quit my job without any bank balance. But things worked out. I had to sell my flat. But then I took that risk because that's the life I thought I should live. And like we say, 84 lakh lives के बाद एक human birth मिलता है. तो वही family, वही money, वही I think there has to be more meaning and purpose of life. So if you think that you want to seek that purpose, jump. There is no better way. You can't sit outside the water and touch the water and feel it. You have to dive and jump.
Beautiful, beautiful. I guess a lot of us middle class, upper middle class, people who have been working for 20 years face this dilemma at some.
नहीं उसमें थोड़ा पागलपन का दौर भी होना चाहिए. Normal people can't do it. So you have to have some kind of a mental problem to do what I did.
You know that how sugarcane farming has had a very detrimental effect on Maharashtra's water crisis. So have you attempted or been successful in weaning away some farmers from that particular geographical location, in terms of moving away from sugarcane? Because, we have been talking so much about its, deleterious effect, but nothing has been done. And the second part of the question was, do you think that we have had a detrimental effect of fertilizers in Maharashtra similar to Punjab and Haryana on the soil quality?
First of all, we have a sugar mill in Parli. And earlier it used to get all its material from Parli and around. Now, Parli has almost stopped making sugarcane. So they have to go very far to bring. So you have to actually, rather than ban things, you have to give a more viable model. So now they get much more income with the kind of crops that we are suggesting. So sugarcane is slowly अपने आप ही reduce हो गया है. So sugarcane of course needs a lot of water, and we are also drought prone area. Sugarcane, now they grow something else.
So the second part of the question was related to the impact of fertilizers on the soil quality in Maharashtra, because we have seen that, literally create irreversible damage in Punjab and Haryana. And, I'm aware certain districts were a bit aggressive, though they are toned down. But in terms of your, having a more of a, I would say, grassroots level interaction, what would be your assessment of the impact of fertilizers? And if so, are there any efforts being made, to mitigate that risk?
Our area does not have the Punjab kind of impact or so much fertilizer, but it does have. And we have been trying to get them to replace it with organic fertilizers. And we've been quite successful in that. But it cannot happen automatically that you go from a chemical to an organic, because you have to leave the land for a few years. But we are trying to increase the components. So we give vermiculture plants in every farm, and we try to teach them how to manage soil with more and more organic components. So I think we've been successful to a very large extent to reduce the impact of fertilizer on the soil.
Sir, I have a very crazy questions now. So I just correlate the nutrition value data. So, like during colonial period, our agriculture cycle has broke, and because of that, there is lots of nutrition problem. We have Anganwadi system to supply some powders for nutrition. So, what do you think if we supply this? Like you change the crop pattern, and now lots of fruits are there, so they are much better nutritive source. So, do you have any planning to connect this agriculture budgets with the health ministry, so that?
Leave the ministry out of this. Let me talk as an individual. See what the problem. We are thinking very strongly on this. That papaya sold at 9 rupees gets sold in the market at 60 rupees. So there is a huge gap in between, which the middlemen are. They are earning much more than the farmer is, and the consumer is also getting at a very high rate. So we are thinking of what is the disruptive policy that we can do to disrupt the middleman. Suppose I'm putting up a laboratory in my area to measure all the contents of the fruits, because youngsters are buying those Lay's biscuit and Pepsi products, and at that same price, can we give them fruit? If we can do that, we'll be able to disrupt the entire market of the country, put MRPs, do a proper packaging, and we are thinking very seriously on that. We have some answers, but we don't have the bigger answers. But we are thinking of disrupting the entire consumer market and give fruits cheap to the consumers, so that the youth who are getting your Pepsis and Lays and chips and all the kind of junk food that they are eating can replace it with nutritious fruit like fruits. So I don't have the final answer now, but we are working on what you are suggesting.
हेलो सर, सो मेरा क्वेश्चन सर ये है, पहला क्वेश्चन तो कि सर मैं झांसी से हूँ, बुंदेलखंड रीजन से, एंड दिस इज वेरी नोन फॉर नॉट नोन डिफाइंड फॉर ड्रॉट एज ए ड्रॉट रीजन, because last 13 years में it has less than 60% decline in rainfall, okay, और water जो level है that is too low, और यहाँ की 60% more than 75% population is dependent on agriculture, so they have and irrigation facility भी उतनी अच्छी नहीं है. So if I want to work in this area, like because water management के बारे में मैंने देखा है आपका video, so that was good, and if I want to work in that particular area, or then how to step, मतलब कैसे भरना चाहिए इसको लेकर के. और and another question I asked, that I am here working as assistant professor in engineering college, so if you will be available for a talk here, if I invite you for a talk.
See, one is my wife does not allow me to talk, so anyone who invites me, I always say yes. So secondly, I have an office. I have 5 offices in Madhya Pradesh, in Bhopal, in Raisan, in Vidisha, Hoshangabad, and Sihor. So if you can come, you please come there and meet my team and see what they are doing. I also have a written standard operating procedure which you can follow. But I can put one person full-time onto you if you are very serious about doing this, to help you and handhold you.
Hello, sir. So my second question is actually on, you said that you had constructed a lot of 6 check dams, if I remember the number correct, 62 check dams, by which you ensured that the water flow was stopped, the groundwater percolation was increased, and thereby the aquifers got recharged. So I would like to know, was there a necessity to build recharge wells to facilitate this process? Like, if I remember correctly, was done in case of Kumudvati and Vedvati rivers by, I think, AOL or Sadhguru, I guess, in Karnataka. Was there a necessity for that? If not, what would be the instances wherein, such, recharge wells are required when the soil is not permeable, or if you can just elaborate the technicalities of that.
This answer might be a little long. हमने ये सोचा, see, water does not come from the ground, it comes from top, and there are aquifers below the surface where the water is stored. So if an aquifer is 100 feet down, then generally it takes 1 year per feet for the water to reach down. So it may have taken 100 years for that water to reach in the aquifer, और हमने एक होल मार के 15 सेकंड में उसको पार खींच लिया for your bore well. तो मुझे भी लगा कि once I go up, what will I answer? You will ask me कि you guys have exploited earth so much. So my balance sheet was in a bad state. तो मुझे लगा कि 15 सेकंड में अगर हम खींचते हैं तो 15 सेकंड में इसको नीचे पहुंचा देना चाहिए. If percolation takes place, it will take many years for that water to reach down. So मुझे लगा कि उसको नीचे डायरेक्ट वो लिफ्ट से पहुंचा देता हूँ. तो मैंने होल करके एक्वीफर ढूंढ लिया and put it in the middle of the river. So when the river was flowing, the water started rushing inside for 4 months. So you can imagine what impact it would have had on the village. So वो जो धीरे धीरे परकोलेट करके पानी जा रहा था वो तो 62 चेक डैम्स और 5 बड़े डैम्स वगैरह से तो हो ही रहा था. बट दिस मॉडल टू माय माइंड was a very effective model at a very low cost.
But I just have a small follow-up question to that as well. So when we are constructing such man-made, recharge wells, it is natural that they are going to be blocked or silted or something like that. So what exactly is the plan to, would you desilt it during the summer, or what exactly would be the purpose of maintenance of it or something like that?
The pipe has a filter around it, so nothing goes inside. So once you see the video, and it is above the ground level. So, and there is a filter pit in which this pipe goes. So it is filtered. There is no need for cleaning it.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
बहुत सस्ता मॉडल है यार. वो सब इतने बड़े बड़े डैम लगाने से इसमें जितना पानी गया ना उतना ऐसा 50 डैम का नहीं जाता और 40-50 हजार में एक काम हो गया. ये खाली कॉमन सेंस है और कुछ इसमें नो बिग डील यार. So there is a pit drawn, pipe is there is perforation and filter around it. Is that video is there in which the water is flowing down?
थोड़ा मार दो. और वो
So you were saying that you have done very lot of thing in Marathwada, and Latur is one of the main reason in Marathwada, you can say. Okay, there was this water problem started from there, you can say. So what is there? What you have done in Latur? And there was a very short news there that 15,000 farmers have marched against this farm laws, and you said that we have been working there in Marathwada. So can you also elaborate it?
First of all, when I went in 2016 to work in Marathwada, at that time there used to be a train which used to carry water to Latur. And I looked at the numbers and said, Latur में तो 50% बारिश गिरा, लेकिन उसके बाजू में बीड़ में 55% कम बारिश गिरा, only 45% गिरा. So it happened because there was a Vilasrao Deshmukh and politically high profile area, which is why the train went to Latur and not to Bid. So I went to Bid because it was the worst area and we started working there. But now we are working in Latur and lot of trees have been planted in Latur also. Having said that, जो आपने 15,000 वो देखिए, ये this part of politics. वहाँ पे एनसीपी के पास अपने किसान लीडर हैं, किसान के ग्रुप है, वो जाते हैं. बीजेपी का पास भी है लेकिन वो नहीं जाते हैं, वो मूर्ख है. लेकिन ये सब पार्टी के पास अपने अपने किसान लोग होते हैं, वो सब लेके जाते हैं, ये सब पॉलिटिक्स का पार्ट है. सो आई डोंट गिव मच क्रेडेंस टू दैट. आई लुक एट मेरिट एंड आई लुक एट व्हाट इज रियली हैपनिंग. नहीं तो उसको लातूर के किसान को क्या लेना देना वो फार्म बिल से यार. उसका तो ही इज एबल टू सेल एवरीवेयर, ही हैज ओपन्ड हिज ऑप्शंस. वो वहां 15,000 लोग उधर जाके क्या करेंगे? आई स्टिल कांट अंडरस्टैंड हाउ इट अफेक्ट्स लातूर किसान, बिकॉज ही इज नॉट ग्रोइंग rice, is not growing wheat. So yeah, all is all part of politics. I don't give too much importance to it.
See, also many of future people start trying to do startups and all. Can you also tell us how to mix? You have gone there and you don't know anything. So how did you do it? How did you get the knowledge?
Was reality ये था, I saw that this area was the worst in the country. Marathwada highest suicides. Bid was the Bihar of Maharashtra. उसके अंदर while the irrigated average was 40%, Parli was 1.72% और highest suicides थे. तो मैंने सोचा यहाँ काम करूँगा. और इसके पहले मैंने लगान पिक्चर छोड़ के गांव नहीं देखा था. So I had no knowledge of the language, I had no knowledge of villages. But it's just that I felt that if I don't do this, then I will not understand this country and I will not be able to transform it. So I just went there, started talking to the farmers. उनको भी ये लगा ये कौन 530 किलोमीटर दूर से आया है. पहले तो मेरे फेस से मैं बेवकूफ दिखता हूँ, तो उनको लगा ये थोड़ा बेवकूफ आदमी है, इसके पास ज्यादा पैसा है, तो पहले कितना लूट सकते हो लूट लो. तो वो फिर समझ में आ गया कि हम तो कुछ देने नहीं वाले. फिर उनको ये लगा कि ये कुछ वोट के लिए आया है या नोट के लिए आया है. देन आई हैड टू कन्विंस देम कि मैं थोड़ा पागल हूँ और मैं इसलिए यहाँ पे आया हूँ. फिर देन दे अंडरस्टूड कि एक पागल आदमी है, चलो आई थिंक वी कैन वर्क विथ हिम. एंड दैट्स हाउ इट बिगैन. एंड आई जस्ट वाज, आई केम विद नो नॉलेज एंड आई स्टार्टेड वर्किंग विद देम एंड स्टार्टेड गेनिंग नॉलेज विथ माय कॉमन सेंस.